Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in to another interesting interview with another interesting person. I've got the one, the only, Sir Christopher the Greatest. What's up, my guy?
What's up? How you
Our,
doing, my man?
I'm doing great. It's not about me, it's about you. And we're going to dive right in. What makes you tick, bleed, and love comic books?
I don't know. I think it was the fact that my father, he was really big on comics. So I'd say, as soon as I was able to kind of like, start going through books and shit like that, I think it just I don't know, something happened, dude, and I've been into it ever since,
Okay. What was the first comic book your dad gave you, and what was the first comic book you purchased?
I would say the first one I purchased was I definitely say was an X-Men #1. All right.
Okay.
Now that was like back in the day type shit, and I only got one because I think it was like some type of little promotion or something that was going on at the time, and I got it right. But mostly, I'd say my father, the things he gave me were like older comics that at the time I wasn't even really familiar with. I just had them, because I wasn't even into comics to where I am today.
Okay. So can you recollect like a few comics that he handed you?
I think I'd say he gave me a couple of Avengers comics when I was younger, and I remember that it wasn't anything significant about it. I think it was just the fact that it was his and he gave it to me. And I was so young too, so when that took place, and that kind of just propelled me into my own thing where I just started reading a lot, you know what I mean? So instead of buying single issues and going to, buy the comics every week at the stores and things like that, I wasn't doing that. I was buying the whole story. I would buy the trade and I would read the whole thing, you know what I mean? So I would just constantly read big stories. And after a while, you know, I just got so used to doing that that I never, was even interested in buying single issues like the way I am now at the time because
Okay.
I was just more interested in reading it. The
Okay.
stories are just so much more compelling to me, versus anything else. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the covers and things like that too right now, but it's just really the stories. They're fucking amazing to me.
Okay. So your love of all things comic books. Are you also a fan of manga?
Dude, I fucking love manga as well.
In your opinion, which one is a better read or a better feel? Like the medium itself, comic books versus a manga. In your opinion, which one feels better in your hand?
I I definitely say manga feels better in my hand.
Okay.
Out of all honesty.
What's your favorite manga collection?
I've always been kind of a Dragon Ball Z fan, so
Mhm.
I really got into anime through Dragon Ball Z because they used to show that show back in the day when I was younger. With a whole little host of shows like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and they threw Dragon Ball in there. So my father also was into something called heavy metal back in the day, right?
Right.
And I remember just watching that. That used to it kind of influenced my manga where I was interested in it after that just because of the art style, right?
Okay.
So
Okay. So let's go ahead and deep dive into. So we can confirm you are a fan of like the whole Dragon Ball universe, right, from start to finish.
yeah, for
We
sure.
can we can say that, right?
Yeah.
All right. And being a young black man as you are, which character, it doesn't matter which saga, doesn't matter, best describes you to a T? Who do you relate more with?
Probably have to say either Trunks, right? I think because the relationship that he had with his father, I kind of felt like that to a degree.
Okay.
So it was I think it's probably Trunks to a
Okay.
degree. you know.
To a degree. Okay. And what is that
Yeah.
degree?
Well, I mean, my father, he's like a hard ass on me. Like, so he's always been a little hard on me. But it's like I understand why. You know what I mean? So it kind of reminds me of Trunks, and I just say it to a degree because he wasn't a full out just asshole, and like Vegeta is, right? I mean,
Right.
Vegeta's pretty. He's a dick, isn't he? He'll show you he loves you from time to time, but Vegeta's a dick, right?
Yeah.
There you go. So,
All right. Fair
my
enough.
dad,
Fair enough.
he's definitely a dick. So I love the guy to death, but he's a dick.
All right. I want you to tell me what was wrong with Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Hi.
What was wrong with it?
In my opinion, dude, Kai just, I didn't even fully watch Kai. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't really care for it like that. I'm gonna be honest, bro. My favorite arcs are probably people's most hated arcs. You know what I mean? I really like the GT arc. One of my favorite characters is probably Super Android 17. All
Oh,
right,
yes.
so it's like, you know, I don't know, dude. Me and other people with Dragon Ball, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, we're all in it for the love of just Dragon Ball, right? But as for favorite characters and shit like that, I'm an oddball. Who really gives a shit about Super 17?
No, he was dope. Are you kidding me? Here on the set, I
Yeah,
got a figure of him. You good? You good?
yeah,
Uh, okay, so
and
let me ask you a question because we're going to keep deep diving into comic books, right? We're going to keep going in. In your humble opinion, who does it better cinematically, Marvel or DC? And we're only
oh
talking
man,
live action, and we're going to exclude the Warner Brother animated series stuff. We're not talking about those movies. I'm talking live action. Doesn't matter how many times they rebooted it. It just in the existence of cinematic value, who did it better or who does it better?
man, bro. I think we all know, dude. It's Marvel hands down, bro. I
Okay.
mean, if DC, if they can if they can do something with this new James Gunn universe, then hey, maybe we can talk about it a little bit later, right? But for right now, if you just standalone live action films, Marvel is fucking killing DC. It's
What
not
was the movie in the Marvel universe that made you go, they got this? What was the one that blew you away? And why?
I'd probably have to say the first Avengers. You know what I mean? When I finally got in and saw the first Avengers, I went to the theaters to see that a couple of times. And when that movie took place, it was great because it was like, all right, finally, dude, we finally got them introducing each character separately, right? And then finally bringing them together in a film together, right? So that was kind of like I would say like a change in cinematic, the way these movies are done cinematically, right? Because now everybody wants to connect everything. So that was like really the really thing that pushed it all over right there is that Avengers film, that first one.
Okay.
I remember, dude, and a couple of times in that sitting of that film, people were out of their seats excited, and that I'll never forget that in my life.
Okay.
How geeked people were in that theater to watch that first Avengers film.
Okay.
And it definitely carried on too. So
All right. I have a two-part question for you. And as far as a comic book standpoint, we understand the terminology of an OP character, correct?
yeah,
In your humble opinion, in the existence of this moment of you being on this planet, who is the OP superhero and OP villain? Doesn't matter what genre or company. Who are these two characters and why? What makes them OP?
you know, I'd have to say Doctor Strange on the superhero tip because I mean, dude is ridiculously powerful if you want to, think of it. everything he does is OP to me. And even as we saw in the films, right, where some of his decisions cause incursions to where we get Clea at the end to come get him, right?
Right.
So I think that even the small things that he does um, is OP because of the consequences that come behind the things that he does, right? Another OP villain, I'd have to say. Now, can we say it strictly from comic, or it has to be live action?
No, we're just talking comic books in general. Just comics
All
in
right,
general.
cool.
DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, all those other companies. Who
I
is
think
an OP
Oblivion
villain?
is a OP.
Who?
Oblivion is an OP character for real.
Okay. Um,
And it wasn't until recently either, until Jonathan Hickman came back and he kind of reworked. I'd say he's reworking the hierarchy of power now. But Oblivion has like been one of the most OP characters since we met him, and even in today's standards, he's still pretty OP.
okay. So talk to me. I'm a new person that's going to get into this whole world of comic books, anime. I'm gonna get into it. I'm a roll with you, bro. You keep talking about it. You're hyping it up. I'm like, you see all the postings you're doing, all this great stuff, and I'm like, I don't get it, right? It's just cartoons. They're just toys. So here's what I'm gonna ask you. All right, I'm gonna dive in and say, all right, Chris, I'm gonna go ahead and get involved in comic books and all this stuff, right? So what I want you to do is tell me what comic book should I start off with and why? And what's a good anime for me to start off as a beginner and why?
Um, let's answer the anime one first.
Okay.
Chainsaw Man. If you haven't gotten into that yet, that's a good one for a beginner. Because for one, it's kind of a self-contained universe. It's all happening within that one little timeline, so you don't have to really jump around like the comics. Now when it comes to the comics aspect of it, if I were just jumping in and I wanted to read something, in general, right? I would say Secret Wars, bro. Now there's a couple of parts to this because if you want all the detail, then I have some tie-ins for you to read along with Secret Wars. But I enjoyed Secret Wars, and I feel like the type of person you are, you would probably enjoy that whole little fiasco that's going on in Secret Wars, and get prepared for it coming up, for the Marvel Universe
For the
when we
Marvel
actually go
Universe.
watch it.
Okay. All right. In your humble opinion, what was the greatest action figure ever created that you've ever touched?
Bro, you should know this, dude. It's
This
fucking
is not my
galactic,
first
bro.
off, hold on. This is not my interview. This your interview. You answer the question,
Okay.
sir.
Dude, hands down, that Hash Lab Galactus is fucking amazing. All right,
Oh yeah, it's somewhere in here.
dude, it's amazing. It's dude. For one, for us to be able to get that character in that size, it's just fucking amazing. And the fact that it works like a 6-inch figure, because with all the articulation and all the detail and all that little shit, right? To do that on that size is
Yeah, it's
dope.
bonkers, dude. It is. That's a
Yeah.
great figure. Worst comic book series in your opinion, the worst. Why did they do it? They should have never brought it up. No one asked for it.
Dude, I hate to do this because I don't like, I try not to talk down about the writers, but I think one of the worst runs ever was probably Excalibur, dude. And it was the Teeny Howard run. And
What was wrong
and
with it?
then she carried on and did a Captain Britain run after, and it felt like a continuation of the Excalibur run, which was like, oh no, what the fuck, dude?
What was
Come
wrong
on,
with
dude.
it? What was wrong with it?
It was just all right. You're it's like you're following Bessie Braddock, right? And she's Captain Britain. She's taken the mantle, from her brother, right? And it's just her trying to fit in Great Britain as their Captain Britain while living in Britain, but it's just like dragged out, and I felt like the story and what was actually taking place in it was kind of like, all right, we didn't need this. We just didn't need it. You know what I mean? And it's a couple of books today that I feel like, we didn't need that issue. But I try not to get down on the writers like that
Of
because,
course.
that could be a down story. That could have been, a one off. They can still be a great writer if they just had that, one story that just wasn't so great.
Okay.
And it's definitely that Excalibur Betsy Braddock run right after two.
Okay.
It's
In your humble
ridiculous, bro.
opinion, in your humble opinion, with your knowledge of all things comic books, right? Who is the best family and have the best offsprings in the comic universe?
Dude, this one's crazy because there's a lot of fucking dope kids, from existing characters that we, fell in love with in our childhood that has kids now. But one of my favorite characters, and that's really Franklin Richards. So I kind of feel like the Fantastic Four, bro. The first family is probably one of the best families to me because we get so much material for them, and it's so much explored with them that just makes that shit the best to me.
Okay.
And they do cosmic shit, dimensional shit, so it's just all over the place awesome.
Who in the world of comic books, who's got the staying power, right? Who's the character, no matter what everyone knows, that they don't need to do anything to? That character is just in its own right. That's just the character. Like, who is it that's got that staying power? Anybody could gravitate to the character, the world, around the world. Like, who's that character in your humble opinion?
I mean, out of all honesty, right now, it fucking feels like Deadpool, right? Because Deadpool, because of the fact that he's one of the characters that breaks fourth wall, right? And he can actually interact with the audience, I think that he has the staying power. And Deadpool's had series for years, so it's an easy character to get into. You don't necessarily have to know every background detail about them, to enjoy it. And like we're on a Deadpool run right now. We're only on think what issue 2, so that that speaks for itself. Plus his movie coming up, and then if he doesn't work for you, maybe Wolverine will. So that's why
Right.
I'm so geeked to see this film come up, bro.
Okay. Since we're going to be stuck on movies for just another few moments here, let me ask you this. Out of all the movies you've seen, all the comic book movies you have ever watched, right? Old ones, new ones, and we're going to be watching future ones as well. Who's the actor that nails the character every time? Whether they're still doing it or not, who's that actor that nailed that character? Who did it
Robert
right?
Downey Jr., dude, he nailed Iron Man. That was probably one of the best movies I've seen, like that, just set of movies with that character. He was just outstanding.
Okay. And who was the
Oh,
worst?
the worst,
And it's going to be Hawkeye. Absolutely. I agree with you. It was the Hawkeye guy. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you for clearing that up, ladies and gentlemen. I told you guys he was the worst. No, go ahead. That's just me. It ain't about me. It's about you. So, who was the worst actor that played any of these comic book characters? Who didn't do it justice?
I didn't really care for and I hate to do this, but I didn't really care for Cyborg in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I didn't connect with him, you know what I mean? So it just didn't do anything for me. Shit, I'd take Ben Affleck as Daredevil again over that.
Fair enough. What's the grossest color in existence?
Ah, it's you know what? I think it's like a shit, like that shit brown, that shit green, dude, that worst color ever. That I mean, I see a lot of people wear the olives and things like that in fall and shit. Don't get me wrong, but some of those shades are a little gut quenching, I guess. I don't
Maybe
know,
I shouldn't
bro.
have worn this shirt for this interview then. Jesus.
No, bro, it's
I
not
get
even that. That's not the color. That's not even the one I'm thinking of. It's like an orange, bro. It's. I can't explain it. I've you know how you see those marker sets, right? And they have like the 80 something different markers in it. I remember I got one and you know, me being me, I just sat there and scribbled a little bit with all of them just to see the colors, right? And it was this one orange that just, it wasn't even like an orange. It was like I can't really explain it.
No,
It's
I get
almost
it.
like they took orange,
Like
you
a burnt
know, it's
orange
like a,
color. Burnt orange? Like a
yeah,
sienna? Is it
I,
sienna?
I
Burnt
don't,
orange. We'll go with burnt orange. All right.
yeah.
I'm gonna grant you one wish, and this one wish only gives you one. Okay, you get the one wish. It can't be like, well, multiple facets within the same sentence. You only get one out of this one wish, and that wish is one superpower, no defects. What would it be?
Hmm, shit. I'd probably go with telekinesis, bro.
You want to move stuff with your mind.
Correct, and fly.
Well, yeah, because you can use your mind to move. Yeah, okay, okay. So,
Yeah,
all right, I
dude.
see you. Okay, and within that same wish, we're gonna give your enemy a power. What would it be? Because you got to have an arch enemy. So, what power would you give
Shit.
them? But you got to be fair. You know what I mean? You don't have to be exactly opposite of telekinesis. But what power would you give them?
Shit, maybe like hypersonic sound like fucking Banshee or some
Oh,
shit, you know,
okay.
some weird shit that I can't necessarily control, you know what I mean? You always got that one superpower. He may have telekinesis, right? Let's say I do have telekinesis, right? And you go up against somebody like fucking Banshee where catches you off guard or some shit and gets to screaming and you know doing some shit and it distracts you, right? Where it catches you off guard, you know.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Growing up and even to this day, are you a gamer?
I'm somewhat of a gamer, but not really. I'm more of a single player game God of War type guy. You know, Miles Morales, the Spider-Man games. I enjoyed that shit. What else? Wrestling. I play the wrestling, so you know, from time to time, you know, I would say, you know, I play kind of like little single player games. You know, like
RPGs
that.
and
You
stuff
know,
like that, little sports
yeah, I haven't
games.
really like I said, explored the streaming side of gaming,
Okay,
but you know, I imagine I will sometime, you know.
okay. Greatest console ever created?
Shit, so far, dude, this is PS5.
PS5. Okay. What makes it superior than all other consoles? And what's the favorite game you like to play on that?
Out of all honesty, I think it's the I really enjoyed playing that Star Wars the Last Jedi one. I can't think of it. I think it was Jedi Survivor. All right. That was a great fucking game. And the reason why I enjoy the PS5 is because I can actually watch YouTube and play the game at the same time. And that's perfect for me because that's like what I do. So
Okay. Where are you originally from and why did you decide to live here in Vegas?
originally, I'm from Chicago, bro. And what made me move out here is probably my grandfather passing away about a decade ago now, right? But my grandparents initially retired out here almost 30 years ago. So I've been coming back and forth for a while, but you know, I've never actually permanently lived out here until my recent 6 years here, you know.
Okay. What are some philosophies that you have received growing up that you hold dear to your heart now?
Um I think the philosophy of just of respecting and loving your family, right? I'm kind of a small family guy, you know, where I have a very small family, so everybody is, special to me, at least in my family, because it's so small. And I think that the philosophy of just being able to take care of your family, right, as a man, stuck with me a lot from my grandfather and my father. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be it, bro.
Okay.
Kind of cheesy, but it is
No,
what it
no,
is.
it
'Cause,
works. No, there's no cheesy here,
you know,
bro. If it works for you, then it works. Like, you know what I mean? It can't go, well, it's cheesy and you live by it. We don't do cheesy around here. Everyone lactose intolerant. You stand 10 toes on it, sir.
I
Where do you see
hear you,
yourself
bro.
10 years from now?
10 years from now, dude, I'm just going to have my own comic shop. And, I'm trying to do some shit that's never been done before. All right. Now, my plan initially was to try to get some money together and buy some land out here, even though it's extremely expensive. Right. But I initially wanted to make a shop, right? That kind of has an arcade in it, a little snack bar, whatever you have it, a place where people can kind of just come and chill. So if I'm not there in 10 years from now, maybe 15, but I am working towards something like that in
That's
the
pretty
future.
cool. All right, let's
Yeah,
switch gears a little bit. I've caught wind that you are part of the podcast. Tell me a little bit about this
indeed.
podcast and how long have you been doing it? Give me all the information. Go ahead.
All right. So just I'd say recently in the last month and a half or so, I started working with a buddy of mine, and we've been doing this podcast called "It's Drunken Chat." All right. I have a link for it in my bio on my Instagram if anybody wants to go check it out.
Yeah,
But
all just to let everyone know, at the bottom of this video, all of his links will be there. Okay, guys?
and definitely, the show consists of pretty much comics, bro. So we cover everything that comes out every week. The hottest books, some of the books that people spec upon, and try to get their books ready for some of these movies to come out. Because I see a lot of fans coming in because of these different shows like X-Men '97 and some of the films that we've had previously. But every Friday night we run over FOC, which is your final order cutoff on most of your big distribution ordering platforms, and we run over that information, and we also run over the books that came out in that current week, and then the books that come out the following week. All right, but we really talk everything comics, and Lucas likes to give everybody a little bit of a stocks update. So he'll run over stocks, at the beginning of the show and see what correlates to the films and the comics and things like that. So it's informative, and hey, we have a good time.
Okay.
So it's definitely something for people to check out, bro.
What's the coolest? Can you name a few guests you've had on there? A couple of cool ones, in your opinion.
Um, there's a guy that we brought on yesterday. He pretty well known, but he was actually my favorite, interview that we've done so far. We've had other people on the channel prior, right? But my favorite has to be David Nakayama, and I did hit, I did that yesterday, right? So it was my first one. So I'm just getting started into interviewing some of the artists that I talk to, kind of on a regular basis. So on my Instagram, and I believe the handle should be up there too, but on the Instagram, I post comics every week. Usually everything hot. Well, I'd say everything I think is hot. All right. Because, everybody has their different opinions, but um, I post those books every week on my Instagram. And the way I do it, I kind of spotlight the comics. So whoever did the cover, I usually tag them. If I bought the book, because of the writing or whatever the case may be, then I'll tag that artist in it. But since doing it for some time now, I've developed relationships with all these different artists that I plan on bringing onto the show. So I was happy to announce yesterday that Nakayama was our first, our big artist that I'm bringing on.
Who are some of the artists that are big in the industry that you would love to interview? Just give me three
Um,
in no particular order.
I'd say right now, um, I want to do Sozo Micah. I don't know if you ever heard of her before, but she's awesome.
Oh yes.
Um, I want to do probably Nicoletta Balderi because she's one of my favorites right now. I also plan on doing Ivan Tao in the future. Um, and one more, if we can make it happen, that's great, and I'm all for it. But I would love to bring Mark Silvestri onto the show too sometime.
Okay. Nice. Growing up, what was your favorite childhood meal?
Dude, growing up, I think my favorite meal was probably Chinese food, bro. You know,
Just Chinese food?
dude, when I was young, we had this place that we always, went to, and it was a staple in our house when I was young. So
Okay.
we would eat Chinese food just like all the time, dude. So that's like probably the
So what was
biggest
your
meal.
what was this Chinese food experience? Like what was in it that you always put on your plate? Like what was it that you knew, oh, we got Chinese food, I'm about to eat, it's going down. What were those items?
Pepper steak. I would get egg roll and or spring roll, whichever one they had, right? And I'm kind of weird because I'll take the chicken nuggets from the sweet and sour chicken, right? And without the sauce, I'll take those nuggets and I'll put those down first, and I put the pepper steak on top of that. So I'm kind of, I'm a little weird. I don't know if anybody else does that, but dude, I fuck that shit up
Every time. Okay.
every
So
time.
as an adult now, what are some of the things that you eat now that's always a staple? Like what are some of the things now? Like can't have Chinese food every day, as a kid,
Yeah.
but we're talking about now. Like what are some of your favorite things to eat now as an adult?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like watching my parents and watching my father and my grandmother and cooking all that, right? I think it's pot roast, dude. I think that's a staple in our house, bro. Because it 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 for one, it's 3 days worth of a meal, right? Because it's only us two, so we eat all of it in maybe 3 4 days, and I think that's probably the biggest staple in the house right now, besides ribeyes. Because I'm kind of a beef dude, and I'm a picky eater. You know what I mean? I don't really fuck with seafood like that, so I have to make it up with all the beef and chicken and shit I can eat.
Right. Okay. Um, I want you to think, and I want you to think real hard. Okay. I want you to really reach into all of this. Tell me about a person you can think of that impacted your life that you will always remember.
Uh, I'd have to say my uncle Danny. All right. And that's because primarily after school, we always would go over to my cousin's house. And, my Uncle Danny would always, fry his potatoes. He would do little things like, little knick-knack things here and there, like little snacks wise. But we always would go after school there to do our homework, right? So he became kind of like a father figure to me in a way. You know what I mean? My real father actually worked a lot, doing banking and stockbroking, right? So I didn't see him a whole lot, So my uncle Danny was the one that was always kind of doing the memorable things when it came to like, in my younger school days, I would say.
What's the worst thing about you?
Worst thing, I'm an asshole, dude. And I forget a lot, dude. And my memory is just like it's kind of twisted, right? Because I can remember thousands of comics, right? I can remember everything that happens. I can remember every character and all this shit, right? But I just have a horrible problem remembering names, right? And remembering to do certain shit, right? Like and I've always kind of been I'm not gonna say like an introvert, right? Where I kind of just kept to myself always, and not anywhere near that. It's like I can't really explain it though, but I've always been somewhat of a loner, you know what I mean? So I feel like it tuned me into being an asshole because, I just don't, I can't like follow through with plans unless it's like right there, you know what I mean? Or it's something really significant or big happening, you know what I mean? So I think that's my worst quality, bro.
Okay.
Like if I'd say like all right, if people wanted to go do something, right? I'm more of like the spur of the moment type motherfucker, right? So I'll say like, all right, fuck it, let's go, down to the strip now and go do some shit, right? But I'm horrible when it comes to planning too, you
Okay.
know?
All right. That just means you hate people and you love comic books more than people. I get it. I totally get it. Okay. From start to finish, you watch this TV series from start to finish, right? You watch it. You're all in. You watch it from start to finish. You finish it. What was the worst series you've ever viewed, in your opinion?
Dude, if I'm gonna be real honest right here, right now, Hawkeye was okay, but it wasn't great. It wasn't over the top great to me, I've seen, and the only reason why I went back to that one is because I was just disappointed in a way, you know what I mean? In the series, I felt like it could have had more in it, you know what I mean? Like, especially when we got to the finale and all that, it was just like, man, dude, this shit was trash. All
Okay.
right, that's what it felt like.
Told you earlier.
It
You
was a
saw.
good.
See how I brought up Hawkeye earlier, and now you're talking about Hawkeye now.
Yeah, it was, bro. I'm not gonna lie, because if you think about any of the other series that they did, you know, WandaVision, excellent. Loki, excellent. Falcon and Winter Soldier was even great. They kind of jagged me on the finale on that one too, but at least the show, it had some good moments in it. You get what I'm saying? Now, Hawkeye, it did give me some feel good moments, but it didn't kind of fulfill what I was looking for it to be,
Okay. Let me ask you this. I think you'll like this next question. That I was saving it for. I was going to do it earlier, but I'm going to do it now. Greatest animated series that's comic book based.
Oh, dude.
You only
Animated
get
series?
one.
Dude,
You only get one.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Animated series wise,
Yep.
X-Men is fucking best.
Oh, so
Just
so so you're saying they did it? So let's talk about X-Men. So are we talking about X-Men 94 and 97?
all right, look, yes, in a way, because I feel like 97 is probably one of the greatest shows animated wise that we've ever watched, bro. And I really feel this way because I'm a fucking X-Men fan, dude. I fucking love the X-Men, bro. Don't get me wrong, like um but it's just I don't think there's to me besides some of the DC animated stuff, all right, that some of that stuff is cool too, but this X-Men 97 show was just fucking great.
Did you cry when Gambit died?
Dude, I did have a tear. I did.
Well, you know they're
I
bringing him back, right?
Of course,
Okay, just
of
wanted to let
course.
you know. You know he's going to be death. Spoiler alert, guys. So, I just wanted to ruin it for everyone else who hasn't watched it. All right. Since you're an X-Men fan, right? Who's your favorite character? And which character in the X-Men universe is trash? That's on the team.
Uh, I don't really care for Sync. Sync is on the team right now, in like in current canon, right?
What's Sync's
I
power?
didn't really Sync. He can actually sync anybody else's powers. I believe he
Okay.
comes in contact with.
Seems a
Not
little
like
kind of like
necessarily like
Morph.
Rogue.
Kind of like
No,
Morph.
not like Morph because he doesn't change. It's more like Rogue from a distance.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that's the
So he can
worst.
actually take other people's powers and he can, hold it for however long he fucking wants. Like, unlike Rogue, where hers is kind of uncontrollable, his is more controlled, basically.
Okay.
But the character itself, I mean, he's cool, but I can live without him. You know what I mean? Now, favorite character right now wise though, I like Quicksilver right now. He's a dick. I like him,
Okay. All now, who is the character of all times the worst and the best in the X-Men universe? All times, not current, not canon. You can use multiverse, whatever. As long as it's X-Men based, who's the best and who's the worst?
I'd have to say, dude, it's kind of a mix for me, dude, because I really, really like Wolverine, right? But he's not the one for me. But I kind of want to sway towards him. But I'd say character wise, I really fucking like Legion. Legion is fucking dope. All right, that's one character that's just one of the best characters of all time, just because of how they kind of present him to us. You know what I mean? Where he has all these different personalities, and each personality has its own power. He's kind of like the most interesting character to me.
Right.
And as for characters that I could do without, I think his name was Spike. I could definitely do without him. I think he was in like one of the X-Men. Um, it was an animated series, but it was the one where they were wearing the black suits. I can't remember when it came out.
Oh, I know who he is.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, dude. I don't really. I could live without Spike.
How upset would you be if they did not greenlight 97? They just left you with a to be continued, and that's it. Could you be okay with that?
Hell no, dude. I'd be pissed. I'd be ready to boycott some shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, because
You'd be that upset if they were just like, we're just gonna move on to another project. It's good. We'll
yes, dude, yes. You know why? Because for the first time, dude, in a while, since we were like fucking kids, right? Has this show ever been so good? Now, keep in mind, the first 5 seasons of the X-Men animated series, the originals,
Yeah,
they're great. But this takes shit up to another level in today's terms. You know what I mean?
right.
And it's actual it's like attachment, a little bit more attachment to the characters and the plot than the previous 5 seasons. You know what I mean? Watching as a kid, watching those 5 seasons, right? It didn't really hit you like it does now as an adult. So as an adult, when we watch X-Men 97, it was actual points in it that stuck with us and resonated with us that we could carry on. So I just feel like, dude, I'd be pissed because they finally did something like that, and then we don't get it anymore. Oh fuck, dude, hell no.
In a battle royale, we have the Justice League, right? And we have your beloved X-Men. And we're going to take the X-Men from 94, from that animated series. Everyone pretty much knows all those characters. Who's winning? This is a battle to the death. Who's winning?
And you said Justice League versus X-Men 94?
Yep. That way, because
Oh, X-Men 94.
everyone kind of knows those characters. You know what I mean?
X-Men 94, dude.
How
Hands
so?
down. Jean Grey.
You say Jean Grey. Okay. Jean Grey by
bro.
herself.
Phoenix Force.
But
Hell yeah.
She can't access it just yet. She's just
Well,
plain Jean Grey.
all right. Well, if you want to put it like that, do we still have Professor X on the team?
Well, I mean, he's stuck in his chair and he stays at the house, but sure, he can go travel.
There you go. Fucking Xavier then, because he would freeze everybody's fucking mind. And I know everybody wants to say, no, that's bullshit, because Batman. No, fuck that shit. Xavier would freeze Batman, okay?
Okay.
He wouldn't fucking. What do you think he's gonna pay Magneto to give him his helmet or some shit? No, it's not how it's gonna go down.
Not how it's gonna go down. Okay, okay. Who, in your humble opinion, my good sir, who has the best story arc, hands down, from start to finish, Marvel or DC? Who has the best story arc? And you can't
I mean,
bring
like
up Secret Wars. You've already talked about it.
just no, but you're saying like overall, right?
Overall, what story arc was a good like in your like what's the best story arc you've ever read that was Marvel or DC? Who did it better?
I would have to say I enjoyed King in Black a lot. All right. I think that was probably one of my favorite storylines overall. Like, don't get me wrong, DC does some good shit over there from time to time, but their continuity never sticks, right? But with Marvel, you have an overall body of continuity, all right? And the stories are kind of coming out of that, you know what I mean? So I like the fact that things that I read all the way back in the day, right, still occur in the current Marvel things like King in Black. Everything still was what it was. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like with the substance within how Marvel does their stories, I just enjoy them just 10 times better. I think they're way better than DC.
Okay. Who's the greatest writer in comic book history? Who's the greatest artist in comic book history?
Dude, it's so many great ones to choose from, bro. But I think I would just have to say overall, my favorite writer as of right now is Hickman. Jonathan Hickman. Not because of Secret Wars or anything, but because of what he's doing right now in Gods. And it was a very slept on story. People really didn't read it at all. But if they did, they'd be excited like I am because there are some things that happened in that story that just has me over the top excited, right? And overall, artists, I'd say maybe I have to give a top three on that, bro. I can't just say one. If
well,
we're
just
gonna
give me
go
the
news,
one. Like, just give me someone that just pops in the head right now. Go. Just
Rose
one.
Besh.
Okay. Okay. Why do you like their art?
Dude, her art is fucking fire, bro. You
Okay.
should see some of it. Like she has a Thanos annual #1 coming up. It's a 1 in 100. Fucking beautiful.
Nice. We're gonna fast forward to 10 years from now. You have your comic book shop. All right. Well, you have it. You can see it. Wonderful. You got customers. What are what's the coolest things when as a person who's worked in comic book shops, going to comic book shops, what's this coolest thing that you enjoy watching other people shop? Like what is that cool factor when they're in there shopping? What is it that you love to see?
Um, I really love to see people's curiosity, right? Because a lot of the times, people if they're just coming in, let's say they're coming in off the street, right? And they really haven't delved in comics before, right? There's so many different stories, right? That whatever kind of piques your interest when you see it, I really like that. I like the fact of people bringing their kids and their kids having curiosity towards some of these characters and stories, right? I think that's probably the dopest thing that I see on, especially when I was working in a shop. It was a great feeling watching kids want to get into it.
Okay. What are some of the worst things you've ever seen in a comic book shop?
Dude,
Working
I've
or
seen a
visiting?
few.
Well, give me a
Uh,
couple.
I've seen people hold back comics that people are coming to get, right? So I'll give a perfect example. Let's say Spider-Man #7 is coming out, right? We got a first appearance of Spider-Boy, right? Big character. Book starts selling for $56 on eBay, right? And I've seen people hold back, those types of books, where they jump from cover price and they maybe sell a little bit more on the aftermarket. So I've seen people hold back books like that, and I hate that shit.
Okay. What are some etiquettes you can give comic book goers? What are some etiquettes?
Like, what do you mean by etiquettes?
Like, what are some cool things that, when I'm going to the comic book shop, what are some things I should probably get acclimated with, get to know? Like, I want to walk in with a little more confidence. Like, what's the etiquette? Like, when I walk in, I'm new. Like, what are some etiquettes that most majority of all people who shop there or work there, what are some of the known etiquettes everyone kind of already knows that a new person may not?
Of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's one of the standing, um, I'd say, kind of driving forces in comics. That's one of the big four.
No.
With
Let me. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase it. Behavior wise,
like,
like I'm gonna go in there. What are some things I shouldn't do? What are some things that I should do? Not purchasing, but just
oh,
behavior
here,
wise,
I
the
got you.
etiquette.
Perfect. One, don't come in a comic shop, all right, and go to the new week rack and just get to picking shit up, all right. We hate that shit, and I'm gonna tell you why I personally hate it. All right, when I was working in the shop, I would have people come in and go to the new week rack, pick something up, and keep in mind, at some shops they may not have the books in bag and boards, right? They might be butt naked on the fucking rack, right? So when people come in and pick them up, and I've seen people pick up stacks before, like off of it, so they can go through it, right? Don't pinch the spines, bro. Come on, dude. Please don't pinch the spines, bro. One, it destroys the book, right? And then after it's destroyed, nobody else wants it, right? Another thing is, I don't mind you picking up some things in the wrong spot and putting them back in the wrong spot, right? But if you're just constantly picking things up and putting them back in the wrong spot, that's when I got a problem with it. I can understand if you pick something up, you're checking it out, and then you put it down, and that's just one thing, right? I can put that back, no problem. But don't be going around the shop and just picking shit up and then putting it here and then putting this here and putting that there, because it makes it hard for the people that work there, right? Because they got to constantly go behind you and put things back and all that. It's just, have a little common courtesy, right? Now, on an uptake, right? Always come in and ask for the free promotional book. They may have some free books for you, especially if you haven't been to a shop before and you're not familiar with comics. Hell, come in, ask for the free comic book day books. Those are free. You can check those out. You can see how you like it before you even spend money these days, right?
Okay. Okay. So let me let's talk about you. What is it that you would like to leave a statement, a message for people who are going to watch this, right? What is it something that you want to let them know about you that most people usually get wrong about you, like being misunderstood? What would that message be to anyone that wants to get to know you?
Well, I think I've had people misunderstand me when it comes to comics, right? And when I say that, I mean, like, when I worked at a shop, people would think that um, I buy everything, great and this, that, and the other, and wouldn't leave enough for this person and that person, right? It's just like this, bro. If you want something in life, all right, don't hesitate to ask for it. And then if you ask for it and let's say you don't get it, right? Well, if you asked late, that's why you got it late, right? And you didn't get it, right? So I used to get people to think that I would buy everything in the shop and I wouldn't leave anything behind for other people to get, right? That was never my intention, right? I never meant to do that shit.
Right.
It was just, hey, they were sitting there, I bought them, that was the end of it, right? I wasn't thinking anything of it. I don't want to keep anybody from getting anything they want. And another thing is this competitive nature in comics, right? I'm not competitive, all right? I feel like this. If you're posting books on Instagram, right? I don't care about what the next guy's doing or what this guy's doing here. I only care about what I'm doing,
Right.
right? And I think that it should be the primary focus of anybody. Don't worry about what the next guy is doing. You know why? It's not you. Worry about what you're doing. Now, if you like what that person is doing, it never hurts to play a compliment. It never hurts to say something nice or like a couple of pictures, right? But I just feel like this day and age in comics, it has this weird competitive nature going on, in it, on who can get the most expensive books, who can get this, who can get that, and it's a lot of judgment on it, and I just think that it shouldn't be like that at all. I think we should all just enjoy the shit for what it's worth. you know if I'm doing something you like, hey, dude, I don't care if you copy me and do the same exact thing that I'm doing, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm only focused on what I'm doing, right?
Right.
And I try to support just anybody doing anything, whatever you're doing, I support it,
Okay.
If you want to stream, I support it. If you want to post books, I support it. If you want to get into comics, I support it. Whatever people want to do, I support what you're doing, right? And all that I ask, right, is for people to stop thinking that I have some type of competitive nature to me, right? Where I'm always trying to outdo the next person, right? I'm not, and I hate that shit.
Right. Tell me your love for the Incredible Hulk.
Dude, it's fucking Hulk smash, dude. I fucking love him, dude. Now, I do wish they would go back to the 90s Hulk, where we have angry, smash shit, and jump around Hulk, right? The Mark Ruffalo Hulk, he's dope, but, I want to see you fuck some shit up as the Hulk. I don't want to see you being nice and shit, bro.
Who doesn't miss the angry Hulk? I love that character. Why is Miles Morales Spider-Man the greatest Spider-Man ever created?
Because he has a better power set, bro. Period.
Okay. For those that may not know who he is, what is his power set?
Oh, look. So he has the powers of Spider-Man, of course, right? Now, that's a given. But he also can um do these electromagnetic charges, right? So he can actually make a sword out of lightning, and he calls it like the Venom Bite or whatever.
Oh,
But it's kind of like a new concept to his powers. But just because he can do that and Peter can't, it's just like that's what makes him, kind of a superior Spider-Man in my,
wait,
I,
doesn't he also
my
isn't he
idea.
isn't doesn't he also can go invisible, right?
Yeah, and he can go invisible.
And
So
he's the only one in the multi-universe that doesn't have the same sort of tragic beginning.
well, he still does, because uh his dad died, right?
No, his uncle died.
Yeah. Well,
But that wasn't
wait.
what propelled them into. He's only one of a kind. He's not an anomaly. He doesn't have an anomaly factor. Every other Spider-Man does.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
he's the greatest, sir.
yeah. Now that I'm thinking of it in that standards, because you got to remember, Miles is also from a different universe. He's actually from the Ultimate Universe, right?
Correct.
And they had in a couple of storylines, like in one storyline, it was his father that died, right? And then another storyline, it was his uncle that died. So the canon Miles Morales, though, wasn't it?
It's his uncle.
Is yeah, that's what I want to say. Like it's
It's
his
his
uncle
uncle.
that died.
Correct. Now, I want to wrap it up. I want to wrap this interview up, my good sir, with one final question. And I really want you to be very passionate with your answer. Okay? This one's going to put you on the spot. You may also, in fact, get a little uncomfortable with this Very intense question I'm about to deliver. Are you ready?
Sure, ask away, homie.
Why is Batman the worst?
Dude, look. Batman is not the fucking worst.
Nope,
All
too
right.
late. Nope. What makes him the worst? You got to give me the worst. What is wrong with Batman? What's wrong with him?
I wish you would get over his fucking parents. Let's start there.
Okay.
You know, oh, dude, have you read the latest Batman run?
No, I don't even fuck with
It's
Batman.
just, dude, it's so fucking dark. And I think, like, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people like that dark aspect of Batman, right? But come the fuck on, dude. Every story is just so fucking dark right now, and depressing. That's my whole fucking problem with DC right now. The books, like their stories, are kind of depressing.
Hold on. No. Focus on Batman. Let's go on. I want you to
That's
give
what
it
I'm
to me
saying.
on why Batman is such the worst. I need that. Forget DC as general. What makes Batman the worst? That's what I
That's
want to
what
know.
that's what makes him the worst. Is these fucking dark stories. Every fucking Batman book I'm reading right now, I'm depressed, bro.
You're depressed because of his darkness.
Dude, the Batman shit is so dark, all right? And reading it sometimes it's depressing. Because he's always fucking sad, bro. When have you seen Batman happy, bro?
Um, a few times in the original animated series, right? You know what I mean?
Just a couple of times though,
Yeah,
a fucking
I'm all
smile
about
here and
hanging
there.
on to that. I'm hanging on to the happy part. But so you're saying the problem with Batman is the sad. The
Dude,
sadness of the character is the worst.
dude, fucking think about it, bro. 98.5% of Batman stories. When have you ever seen the motherfucker smile?
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
He's not, dude. He never fucking smiles. Doesn't really crack jokes. He's just always straight to it, right? Now, don't get me wrong. That's like part of the reason why I love Batman, but I hate it at the same time. You know?
Okay. I mean, all right, that's fair. His sads. I've never heard anyone tell me the sads about Batman. That's all right. I'll take that. The sads. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. Check out the new merch coming out. It's called the Sads, and it's Batman on it. Right on. I want to thank you for your time, my good sir. I really do appreciate it. I hope you had yourself a wonderful time, and it's a pleasure to get to know you a little bit more, even though you live right down the street. And I just think you never want to come over because you hate me, and that's fine. But I'm glad I was able to get you here on a video interview.
Bro, we're gonna definitely do something, bro. And I was extremely happy to come on with you, bro. So, anytime you want to do it, just let me know, bro. And I do want to do this though. I want everybody to check me out on Instagram, right? And in my bio should be a link to our podcast. It's every Friday. And me and you, bro, we're long overdue, or we gotta at least go play pool or something. We gotta
Of
go do
course,
something, bro.
of
All
course,
right. So,
we'll spare it up.
you know what? How's your next weekend looking, bro? How's it looking?
Um, well, when this interview's all said and done, we'll set it all up. All right. So don't you go nowhere. Don't you go nowhere. Okay. I have to stop the recording here in a moment. Now, just let everybody know everything that he's been talking about will be at the bottom of this video. Now, I'm going to give you a few moments real quick. I'm going to let you take the floor to end this video with anything you want to say to your supporters, your significant other, to your family. I want you to look right at the camera and give it to them. Something you would probably never tell them, something you want to say to everyone who supports you. I want you to go ahead and just give them that message of whatever it is you want to say to them and speak it from the heart. Your video.
Uh, you know, I really want to just thank everybody who has supported me and appreciates what I'm doing over here on Instagram. I don't see a whole lot of people doing the same exact thing that I'm doing, but I kind of have appreciation for comics and the covers and the artists and all the people that are involved in comics, right? So I appreciate everybody supporting what I'm doing right now with that. Also, I want to appreciate everybody that has come out to watch the podcast already. And if you haven't, please check it out. And, let us know how you feel in the comments on the Friday when we do the videos. All right. Um, Other than that, dude, I just want to say I love everybody, and peace out, bro. That's it.
Okay, we, uh, um, okay. Unfortunately, I'm not editing any of that out. We're gonna have to just redo it. I want you to leave a message to everyone who supported you and loves you and all the people you interact with. I want you to leave them a message, not a shameless plug about your social media. I meant from you to leave a message for them. Let's hypothetically say something happens, right? And this is the only piece of medium that's out there in the universe that'll never be taken down. What would that message be to everyone that's involved in you, with you? Household, family, blood family, friends, all of it. What would that message be from the heart? Like, that's why I said look at the camera and tell them. But do not plug nothing else. You already did that for a whole hour, sir. Okay. So that's what I'm
I would
looking
say,
for. That's where I need you to focus because this is your video. I want you to leave a message to everyone from the heart. Take it away.
all right. Well, in case of anything happening to me, I just want to say that I had the greatest
No,
parent.
no, no, no. You can't be Batman and start it off dark. I just said do a message. You can't just start off with, well, if anything happens. And then let's say something happens, then they're going to come after my black ass going, you were the last one who saw him. And then you had him do this weird ass confession. No, 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 ninja. You're not setting me up. Okay. Don't do no Batman shit here. One more time, sir. You get one more, or I'm going to have to do it. And you don't want me to do it. We've been keeping it chill. All right. Wusa, hold
How do you
on. Just
want this?
hold. I already told you what to do. Hold on. Bring it in.
I can't stop cheesing, dude. But you know, I'd say like this, dude. My family, they've probably been the absolute best ever. So it's like I don't really think that I could have had a better family, but I definitely appreciate my family, especially my grandmother Feifei, my father Eddie, and my mother Claire, right? And my beautiful lady in the back, Brittany, dude. So they support your boy, hold me down, and I just really, really appreciate that. And if you know if I don't get a chance to say it later, I love all of you. And I love you too, dude. Killing, you're one. You don't even know it, but you're probably one of my best fucking friends, and you don't even know it, dude. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you even more. All
No
right.
problems. Appreciate you, my guy. Okay. We're going to get out of here. All right. Say goodbye to everyone so I can stop the
Peace
recording,
out.
sir. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time. Cheers.